it's Drybear. As the First Descendant Season 2 draws closer, we're getting more and more developer Q&A answers on what they're planning to do, plus new marketing art and marketing assets to talk about what's coming for Season 2, so let's do a recap today. The first is this image they put out showing off the Fellow, which is the new companion system coming in Season 2 in just a few weeks on December 5th. They reconfirmed this, but they already talked about this in the dev stream. It will have auto pickup for consumables and items. Anything on the ground, your dog can run over and grab it. It'll also have an option for auto dismantle, which means that when it picks it up, it can automatically dismantle anything that doesn't meet your settings. They also confirmed this in a Q&A a couple days ago, saying that this will have an on-off option for the auto dismantle. The dog will still go out and grab the items for you, but you can tell it whether to auto dismantle or just to pick it up and let you do it instead, but it will be tied to the companion itself. And they also reaffirmed that yes, he is adorable and trustworthy, and I agree, he looks like a good boy. There's also a hotfix planned for tomorrow, 11/20 Wednesday, and it will be launched on all platforms. This one is going to include a few items in it. They didn't specify exactly what these line items are, but they gave us a general preview. They're going to be increasing the weak point sizes for Deathstalker. I don't think Deathstalker needs to get any larger, but I think that you wouldn't notice the need for this if you're playing on mouse and keyboard. However, some of the weak spots for Deathstalker are a bit too cumbersome to shoot at when you're using a controller. Like analog sticks wise, Deathstalker just moves so much and the spots are so small that it just becomes kind of cumbersome, especially with the auto aim off, which most players in TvD play with no auto aim because of the way it's set up now. So I think this is generally just good for people playing with a controller. They also bring in quality of life improvements. We don't know exactly what these are yet, but I'll be able to update you once this actually goes live. New events, because the in-game events as of right now are ending in less than 24 hours. So they're making sure a new event will come into the game, which will be like daily logins, things like that, to replace the one that's there. And I think this is what they should continue doing for the long term, which is making sure there's always one event active at a time, so there's always something to get. The one right now gives you materials for energy activators, it gives you materials for crystallization catalysts, it gives you Kuiper, it gives you gold, and it goes along with the invasion gold bonus, which I think is very important for players playing the game regularly, and also giving you a reason to log in, because that stuff is basically free for a minor amount of effort. And they also will be doing bug fixes tomorrow as well. Now let's dive into and recap the Q&A that's continuing to go on every single day on the Discord. This is the production director and the game director responding directly to people in chat and in the Discord, answering their questions. The first one is he wants to leave a comment before like he's going to bed. Remember, they do this after their shift at work. They go home and while they're talking to their families, they're on their laptop typing, responding to people. But they mentioned that the focus group testing has been incredibly successful. They have established the focus group, which is kind of like a small PTR or test realm for them. So they've been doing the focus group testing for Season 2, and they said it is absolutely the right decision to conduct it. And they say that if they had done the focus group testing earlier, they could have improved even more. And they're happy that everyone's provided such helpful feedback, so we'll work hard to make improvements and adjustments and update the game in the remaining time. So overall, they're just saying thanks to the testers that are doing the focus group testing for Season 2, and hopefully we'll be able to get an improved version of Season 2 before it comes out, unlike Season 1, which came out with a lot of issues that could have been easily cleared up if more players had had the chance to try it. They also respond to a question around update frequency. I think there's a lot of questions on whether or not the updates are coming fast enough, if there's enough content in the game, and the general pacing and release timeline for the content in the First Descendant. And they mentioned that it is a tricky topic, and it actually is. That, you know, you can certainly go so fast with content that it starts coming out a buggy mess and unprepared, or it's just not well cooked and it's not good enough for the player base. So there's definitely a break point where you want to go fast enough where new content is coming out, but there's also a certain amount of content they can release based on what they have. And they've also mentioned that they are continuing to hire more people to expand the team. I hope they do this consciously and more intentionally, because you can very easily overexpand and overinflate based on what you are capable of receiving for income on the way in. But hopefully this all works out and we start getting more content content at a regular pace. Next up is a huge topic apparently in the First Descendant community and all across all of its messaging boards. It is the idea of body proportions and being consistent with it. So the production director has responded to this saying the issues related to body types have gone far beyond what we initially anticipated. Of course, that's on me for failing to predict it properly. Addressing everything at once is practically challenging due to existing issue resolutions, quality upgrades, and new productions. They are reviewing their process for updating the body proportions for the characters and for the skins they get. They're trying to make it as part of their process to keep up with the demand that people are having. Now, this is no joke. This is actually a big issue for people in the community. It's not something that I even noticed, but I guess it's a very big thing. The first one is this skin you see on screen, the Haley skin in the middle. Many people have noticed and mentioned and pushed the fact that this is not Haley's body. And this is something that's been going on for quite a while, actually. A lot of the universal skins that get shared between characters, sometimes they use the same base model and they just attach the character's head to it to be cheaper for it. But this is becoming more of a consistent thing where people are saying, hey, that is not the character, this is not their proportions, and I want it to be accurate. The other one that's being talked about right now is the bunny on the far right side. If you compare Ultimate Bunny to this sexy elf bunny, you can tell that there is a loss of mass. Like there is some kind of tearing in the amount of weight and distribution between the two. And so there's a lot of people on the Reddit and the messaging boards saying that this grave, huge error needs to be corrected. And no, I'm not kidding. There are many posts on the message boards and on Reddit saying that the Xmas bunny skin and the Haley skin are being seriously reviewed by the dev team to make sure that the skins are the same to the normal proportions and body shape for the character that is there. And this has also been mentioned on like the Viessa bathing suit skin, the Valby bathing suit skin, and various other cases like the multi-character skins like the sexy nun, or even some of the other like, you know, shared skins that may not be the exact same proportions as the character they expect. And his official response on this directly is in several forms. The first one is they're going to be fixing modeling errors, and this is completed for season 2. So they hope that going into season 2, any body composition discrepancies from the base character over to the ultimate character and into the skins for that character will be consistent with the update of season 2 on all existing content. They've also adjusted outfits that have been criticized for body inconsistencies, Viessa's swimsuit, the shown Haley skin, the Christmas version of the bunny skin. They said they've already addressed those internally on their dev version. They're planning to address feedback on outfits like the new skins, and they're differentiating the body type for new characters like Inez, trying to make them a little bit more discernible between each other, different proportions and distributions of mass around their overall figure. They're looking at that. They're also going to be doing some subsequent steps that have not been determined, and they're carefully considering how to improve satisfaction with body types and what to prioritize. For now, we're addressing the most sensitive issues first, and they hope for your patience and understanding. So yes, this has been a big thing in the community. People are saying that the inconsistencies are ridiculous, and they want to make sure that the characters stay the same across all of their skins and usages. And since we're in Gunnar territory, there was also a comment from the director that they will be adding the possibility of leggings or yoga pants skins that is being discussed and is on their art board for now. So if that's something that calls out to you, then that's something that could be on the way very soon. In other good news, they will be keeping the same pricing for the shared skins. There was concern that they will be, you know, when they make this update to the shared skins that can be used across all characters with one purchase, there was a fear that Nexon would come in and make sure that they have a increased price for that. They have confirmed that the shared skins will be the same price as they are now, which I think will make the shared skins a lot more valuable than the others, because, you know, if it's like the Dead Bride skin, they've been used on all female Descendants. You buy it once, you have a skin for all characters. I'm not sure how it will work for dyeing in the customization system or paint options, but at least you'll be able to have that skin. They have also confirmed that not only will the price be staying the same for the shared skins, if you happen to have bought the same shared skin multiple times, they will be giving you a caliber refund on launch of season 2 that will refund you for the duplicate versions of the skin. And they've also committed to making sure that any of the skins that were shared before, if you own them, those will be back compatible. They'll retroactively update those to make sure they can be used by all Descendants if that content is already in the game. Another big topic that gets brought up a lot by people in my chat as well is the idea of whether or not there will be additional companions besides dogs. There's some people that would love to have the wide range of the animal kingdom. Some people even joked about having like Nell running around grabbing your loot for you. And the response officially right now is whether to add something other than dogs, as the next companion has not yet been decided, which probably means that it's going to be like a seasonal thing. For now, the quality upgrades for Season 2 and follow-up patches are more critical priorities. Future plans for companions will be established after thoroughly considering user feedback. Now, once they go through the process of modeling, rigging, and animating a certain animal type or companion type, then they can make multiples of that. Most companies tend to do this on like a seasonal basis, where they add, maybe in Season 3, they add in cats, and Season 4, they add in birds, and Season 5, they have Nell as a companion, and then they have skins and alternates and hookups for that. And keep in mind that the skins for the companions are a big part of it too. They have 4 different pieces that you can customize and potentially dye on the companion as well. So it looks like for Season 1, it's just going to be dogs, but it doesn't mean that there won't be more options in the future. A short but interesting one, they have confirmed that they have no plans to make any other cities besides Albion. They like having Albion as the main city. They will make updates to it like they did with Halloween, redecorating and changing, and as they add more vendors and things like that, they'll make adjustments, but they don't plan to have like multiple cities that you'll travel behind. At least for the time being, they're focused on making new environments, new dungeons, new boss fights, and everything else outside of Albion, which I think is the right choice. If the game stayed the way that it was, but we got a new Albion, I don't think the game would be better off than if we had new dungeons, new maps, new areas that were actually more gameplay focused. Another very important note is some distinction on what's coming for balance and changes on the Descendants on the patches. We know that there's a patch on December 5th, and we know that there's a patch in January. They listed January 16th, but week 7 of Season 2. Now, they specifically responded with this, saying that for December's rebalancing, they will be focusing on adjusting the stats of certain Descendants, so making them stronger through their base stats and their output and efficiency. And then January is when the reworks are coming. We know for sure that Jayber is getting a rework. This is confirmed directly by the directors, that Jayber is just going to be reworked and overhauled, and looks like this is going to be happening in January, around the January 16th deadline on that. And then for December, we know that there's going to be changes to Sharon, potentially some buff changes to a few other characters to make them in line. And we also know that confirmed at some point will be a Lunar rework, whether that's going to be like a major overhaul or just making her more usable and making her more consistent overall. There's a lot of people that are huge fans of Luna and want to see what they're going to do with her in general. They also confirmed that 3 new systems that have been heavily requested, or at least 2 new systems that have been heavily requested, have been talked about. The first one is photo mode is confirmed. They are working on a photo mode for the game and getting that implemented. It's possible this won't show up for Season 2, but at least for Season 3, I would imagine, if they're talking about working on it already, it sounds like it's being designed and worked on, and potentially is being worked into the production timeline and calendar for that as well. They're also working on more dog breeds outside of just the German Shepherd that they have shown, and long-term goal, they want to add more than just this current style of dog. And they also have talked about a hideout system. Now, they don't directly say that this is being worked on currently, but they do want to add a hideout system, which essentially is a player housing, like an instanced area that you can go to, that you can decorate, add trophies and all your own decorations and your favorite Descendants there, and your party members and other people can visit you in your hideout or player housing. This is something that they want to do for long term. They've agreed that it's great, and they've already started talking about what it could look like, but it's not on the calendar. They haven't started designing it. They haven't started working on it. It's just one of their long-term goals. Another big response, this one has been huge, especially now as like player numbers have been kind of slowing a little bit until new content comes into the game, is the idea of AFK players, especially with Bunny and Freyna in the mix. There's a lot of people that join up on defense missions or join up on dungeons and they just AFK behind the defense thing. I mean, in some cases, you could definitely argue that there's not much they could do if they're not Freyna, especially with Freyna destroying everything in their wake. But they have given a response here. They apologize for the inconvenience caused by AFK players or those who leave mid-activity. This one's hard to discern because sometimes people just end up disconnecting. Obviously, if they join, see who's in it, and manually disconnect, that's different than someone having a crash or something like that. But they are continuously monitoring the AFK behavior through reports and an internal detection system. Repeat AFK players are currently being placed in a separate matchmaking pool for a certain period as a countermeasure, which is kind of like the loser queue or the cheater queue that you have in like Dota 2, where you just get bad matchmaking or poor matchmaking because you've been dodging too much. Currently, multiplayer relies heavily on random matchmaking, leaving players with limited options to ensure matchmaking quality, and they want to keep making that better. Their stance, as they mentioned, is still very much there, and they want to consider offering both private and matchmaking as well as solo play options as a fundamental approach, so that if you want to solo it, you can. If there's issues there, there's obviously some encounters that are not available for that, things like Hanged Man, where if you get stunned, you won't be able to solo it, but I mean, they could deal with that with revives and things like that. But they are continuing to go after AFK, and they're hoping to stay on top of that and keep it moving if it's something that concerns you in the current state of the game. And that's where we're at least on the latest for the dev Q&A. We got some great stuff on the way, and season 2 is just around the corner. Let me know what you'd like to see in season 2, or what part of this is the most exciting for you. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.